And welcome back, folks. You're listening to A Neighbor's Choice Radio on NewsRadio 102.5 WFLA, and I have the privilege to be speaking with Kevin Ellerbe, who is the host of Kevin's Corner on YouTube. He's a downright YouTube star, and he is all about questioning the victim ideology that plagues so much of mainstream popular culture and media. And he's a voice for people who are tired of feeling alone, like nobody wants to have common sense anymore. And so, Kevin, what got you in, what made you decide to start a YouTube page, and how did you end up getting millions of people watching your stuff?
Well, I tell you, I'm a firm believer of sometimes your gift will make room for you. And I kind of live by the premise of do things that you're passionate about, do things that you enjoy doing, and then this way you will do it with sincerity. You won't do it for some other hidden motive or desire. And I think that the doors were just open for you, because when it came down to the YouTube channel, I was watching how people were responding during the primary elections with Hillary and President Trump. And it bothered me because I was able to see some of the obvious bias and manipulation that was taking place, and I couldn't understand why so many other people wasn't able to see it. And it wasn't just that there was differences, but it became very malicious in intent and very methodical when it comes down to how they were trying to portray some of the things that the president said. One of the biggest things that kind of invoked me to start speaking out about it, because at first I was just kind of sitting back watching. But when President Trump gave his speech talking about that he was going to run, he came down the escalator, and I watched the whole entire speech. Then that evening, I see on CNN, big bold words, President Trump calls all Mexicans rapists, murderers, and drug dealers. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I watched that whole segment, and that's not what he was referring to. He didn't say everybody was drugged, And that's when my antennas went up, and I started becoming more aware of the coalition between the Democratic Party and the liberal media. And when I started seeing that and other people couldn't, I just simply made a video to try to combat that and tell people to just be open-minded and be aware of the malicious intent and manipulation from the media. Well, I put a video out and didn't care anything about it. I mean, all of a sudden it hit like 30,000 views and, sparked up a big conversation. And then I said a couple things on Facebook, and it kind of got ugly there. But I got the attention of some of the minority Republicans in the Ohio area. And so they invited me down to Columbus to speak out about why I support President Trump. And they did a live stream on Facebook. And, oh, my goodness, you already know what happened. It was vicious. And the irony is that my Facebook friends from the past were attacking me as if they never knew me. These were some of the people that were attacking me were people I knew for years, and you would have thought we never had a friendship or anything. And the attacks were so malicious, so vicious, and, it wasn't like I said anything crazy. I just, did a short video about why it's important to look at things a little differently and be open-minded and not easily manipulated. They attacked me so viciously, but the people that had befriended me from the video I posted on YouTube, I didn't realize that they had also became my Facebook friend as well, and they rushed into the defense. And from that point on, they were asking for more content.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what you encountered was the state worship that is very prominent. And it's not just the left. The right has a lot of it, too. There's this sense that we don't need to take responsibility for ourselves, to solve our health care choices ourselves, to love our neighbor as ourselves. We just got to hire somebody, and they'll pass the buck for us. And it really does become kind of like a cult. I call it the cult of the state. And we're never going to get the problems that because the people on the left, most of them are good intended people, just like on the right. It's just that these are bad ideologies that reject the truth, and they reject beauty. and they're just motivated by anger and guilt. And the only way you can get rid of that guilt is to self-sacrifice. Take up your cross and go by your neighbor. And if you feel like, for example, with the left, they're obsessed with trying to make everybody equal on financial, economic issues. And I say to myself, look, Jesus says, don't resist evil with violence. You cannot use force to get someone to change their economic practices. It's only going to make them bitter, resentful. Yeah. It's going to make them cling back and hold their dollars a little bit more stingier. They're going to feel victimized themselves, and they're going to want revenge. And you're never going to heal that. And so what you're doing is so powerful, because to me it's not about Republican or Democrat. It's just about personal responsibility. If you're concerned about health care, don't get Bernie to fix it for you. Get in there and help chip in to solve cancer cures that we don't even know about, to solve real issues, and really roll up your sleeves and love the least of these yourselves. And I think that's what it all comes down to. And we're speaking here today with Kevin Ellerbe from Kevin's Corner. And if you'd like to join in or have a question, it's 407-916-5400. I'm David Gornoski, your host as always. And, Kevin, so tell us, what's your big plan in the big scheme of things? Let's start, how about the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you want to do this as a full-time thing, or, what's your goal with this?
Well, that's interesting. One part of me, I try to be sober when it comes down to anything I get involved with. I try to allow things to progress in a reasonable way and keep my head on a swivel, because of course I realize the greater you become, the bigger the fall, and also you just invite a lot more. I'm sure President Trump didn't think he would be getting hit with all the troubles he's been getting hit with, but I just understand it's more, the more you progress, the more responsibility you have. And I don't take it lightly. I take it very soberly. So I just want to continue to grow, my channel, and allow me to just get my voice out there in a way that I start to see people just really either waking up or at least starting to think more critically. And also, a lot of people ask me, why did you get into politics? I'm like, not after seeing how things are right now. But working from the position that I'm in, I believe it allows me to be more effective, because the biggest vulnerability when it comes down to politics is not the politicians, it's the people that are victims of political manipulation. Right. Ultimately, the people have to make the votes. And if they're educated, if they're aware of some of the tactics that are being used, then they will vote hopefully more, soberly. And so that's my goal, is just to continue to grow my channel, to open up more platforms. Well,
very good.
To speak out.
I enjoy listening to your commentary. I want everybody to go look up Kevin's Corner on YouTube, and it's all about, like you said, it all goes down to, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's come together as a nation. Let's go across racial and ethnic boundaries, and let's get things done as neighbors. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. You're listening to A Neighbor's Choice Radio. I'm your host, David Gornoski. And up next, NASA physicist Dr. Yu in the house. We'll see you there. News Radio 102.5 WFLA.